let's
Yes,
move
I can.
ahead. Yeah, let's move ahead. A whole lot of things happen in the Champions League. I know for a fact that Arsenal had an unimpressive game. The game was a bit boring. You know, you would expect Arsenal to come in gun blazing, and that did not happen. There's also the case of Bayern Munich showing that they have a whole lot of class, and again, Abeloa showing that I think he's out of his depth. But let's kickstart with the Arsenal game. I will start with Solomon. I mean, you're a huge Arsenal fan. If you had won that game convincingly or you have played much more better, that gives you the confidence going to the very crucial game in the weekend. The team yesterday, the team on Wednesday, they were not fluid in front of goal. Um, a whole lot of the players did not step up. They couldn't really break down the sporting side. So, what do you make of the performance? And owing to that performance, do you think, that performance might probably, affect Arsenal going into the weekend game psychologically?
I'll start from the last question that you asked. Do I think that the last performance would affect them psychologically? Yes. And I do not mean negatively. This team has qualified for the semi-finals, second time in a row, in the 140-year history of Arsenal. If you watch the post-match reactions, I don't think this team is wondering whether they played well or not. I genuinely don't think they were thinking of, I know, of course, that eventually, I mean, Mikel Arteta, the type of gaffer that he is, I know that, of course, there's going to be a lot of conversations concerning our transition play, concerning our game management, our creation of chances and all of those things. But they were reeling from the fact that we just qualified for the semi-finals for the second time in a row. Prior to Mikel Arteta, we did not even qualify for the Champions League. We were getting knocked out in the Europa League, even when Mikel Arteta obviously came in as well, right? But now, with Mikel Arteta, we've qualified for the quarterfinals, we've gone into the semi-finals, and now we're back in the semi-finals, right? Now, it means that in all my years, because I started supporting Arsenal since like 2008, right? The other time that I remember that Arsenal got into the semi-finals was the 2006. Then we eventually went on to play Barcelona. And then in 2008, we had the Manchester United with that Cristiano Ronaldo free kick. I still blame Almunia for that, but it's all good. Then right now, from that 2008 until now, until Mikel Arteta, Arsenal are not there. They are nowhere near Europe. I mean, you get into Europe and you are walloped 5-1, 10-2, back to back. Mr. Mayowa, secondary school days, traumatic. They 10-2, back to back. So I do not see any way that the team is going into the match this weekend, affected psychologically in a negative way. When questions like this are asked, I want to go back to the likes of Jose Mourinho, the likes of what's it called, and to Diego Simeone, and the type of football that they have been associated with over the years. Mourinho won a treble, literally known as a defensive giant, in 2010. In fact, in the match against Bayern Munich in the finals, because I still watched it recently, the goals, most likely, I think maybe the first both goals probably came from a counter attack.
Counter.
They were not in any way looking to play beautiful. They were not here to entertain you. They just wanted to get the results. Now, this is not me saying that, did I enjoy or do I enjoy our performances, especially in our recent matches? No, not really, to be very honest, right? And I do not enjoy it so much because I have seen what we've been able to do. I know what we started with this season. We were walloping Nottingham 4-0. We were defeating Leeds 4-5-1. Do you understand? This was a team that you could tell that, even without the first team. For instance, I'll give you a very good scenario. The match against Inter Milan, it was a heavy rotated team. We had like 8 different players coming to that team, and we won convincingly, like
True.
convincingly. But you can't say that now about this. Funnily enough, it's still the same crop of players, right? You can't say that right now because obviously recent form has changed. There's so much going on, and it gets worrisome at some point. But to be very honest, we got the job done, and I honestly believe that that is what we have demanded of Mikel Arteta so far. You play beautiful football, but you don't get the results done. What is the point? There's a team that scored 4 goals, and they still did not qualify for the semi-finals, right? They played beautiful football, but they are nowhere near the semi-finals. And now, even being the king of the competitions or king of the competition, they are probably going to go trophyless in back-to-back seasons. Atletico Madrid, is it even Atletico Madrid? Let me even give you a much more deeper context to this. In 2010, when Spain won the World Cup, Spain did not win with so many what's it called? Gapo. The goals that they were scoring were probably 1-0, 2-1, like that, until they got even in the finals, they still won with just a goal. Right? The point of it is this: as Arsenal played so well, especially when you compare how they've played from the start of the season up until now, no, that's the honest truth, right? But are they getting the job done? Well, that's quite, you can say no and yes, because in the Premier League, it seems as though there's a wobble, right? But then in the Champions League, we are right in the semi-finals. Not so many people can say that. PSG is first in the league. That Bayern
Bayern.
Munich, they are first in their league, right? Arsenal, they are first in the league. Atletico
For
Madrid,
now.
they are fourth in La Liga, right? But they are right there in the Champions League, and they are gunning for both the UEFA Champions League and the Copa del Rey. So by all means, please, is Arsenal getting the job done? That is all that matters. We play beautiful football, we don't get results. So what are we now talking about? Now that we're not playing beautiful football, but we are getting the results, you still want to complain? Please, by all means, let's just get the result. That's all that matters. To be honest, that's all that matters.
Okay. Temiloluwa, you've heard what Solomon said, and he made a valid point. You play ugly, and you get the result. We've seen Mourinho do this with a Porto side. We've seen him do this with an Inter side. We saw him do the same thing with a Manchester United side in the Europa League final. Ajax played, Manchester United scored. I mean, however, in as much as the performance was disappointing, don't you think Arsenal, what matters most is Arsenal getting over the line, irrespective of the performance? And do you think their performance will have a bearing over their performance in the weekend?
Okay, so we are in that part of the season where every single game matters. So if at this point in time, Arsenal have deemed it fit to find a way to get results instead of giving 100% performance, I think it is okay, it is fine. It is an idea that is accepted by every single person. Let's now backdate it to the Champions League Chelsea won, where Chelsea defeated the Manchester City 1-0. Man City did all the huff and puffing. They were on Chelsea's neck for full 90 minutes. Just one counter attack, and Chelsea won it. You understand? So in football is a result-based sport. You understand? And on target, 1 million possession, 1 million chances created. If you don't score, you are not winning anything. And the idea of winning, you understand, is all that matters. So I think Arsenal have adopted that. But also, you also need to be very careful in looking at it, because it is in two ways. If you say Arsenal have adopted the strategy of winning games, you understand, ensuring that they progress, they win game, we also need to be careful that they are not regressing. Because we can say, okay, you know what, Arsenal used to score 5 goals, now they are scoring only 1, but we'll say, yes, they are still winning. Yes, they are still winning. It is from 1-0 that
sorry,
it becomes
Temiloluwa,
0-0.
they've only scored 3 goals in 5 games, in the last 5 games. Don't you think that's an issue for them?
That's what I'm still saying. You understand? It is an issue, but people are looking at it like, they are still progressing. They are still progressing. People are people are saying yes, it has gotten to that point in stage where results matter. You understand? Progressing matter, but you also need to check the performances. You understand? If the performance level is dropping match by match, something is wrong, and I think that is what is actually happening at Arsenal now. You understand? Performances are dropping drastically. You understand? And it is at a point where it is very, very dangerous. You understand? And Arsenal fans can say, yes, we are getting the result. Yes, we understand. Back-to-back semi-finals, fantastic performance. But how has their performance been lately? It is something to ponder on as an Arsenal fan. You understand? You see, Ateta has sold the idea to them that you can see the way Solomon was backing them with different clubs, different managers, this, that. Yes, it's good. You understand? But also, you also need to know when the club is regressing. You understand? You also need to know when this club is struggling. Hide behind there of being defensive to get results and the club struggling. Currently, at this point in time, Arsenal are struggling. You understand? Yes, they've progressed to the Champions League, but how has their performance been? Like you said, 3 goals in 5 matches is not good enough for Arsenal, considering the fact that Arsenal don't really have a lot of injuries up front, apart from Saka. You understand? Having the likes of Gabriel Jesus back, Kai Havertz, Gyökeres, Trossard, Martinelli, having these guys, and then you're struggling to score goals. That is the beginning of the end. You understand? And even as they are struggling to score goals in front, they are leaking goals at the back. Considering the fact that they still have the likes of Saliba and Gabriel. You understand? They are leaking. So this one is not even a matter of Ateta trying to be defensive, trying to get results. You understand? It is a sign of a struggling team. And I just hope that Ateta can pack his load very well, you understand, and give us now a very good end of the season. You understand? Hopefully they win the Premier League. And hopefully they get to the final of the Champions League. You understand? At least something to lift up their mood. But from what I'm seeing, Arsenal are struggling. It is not a winning mentality again now. It is now a struggling mentality, and hopefully Ateta can give them that extra nudge that they need to get to the next stage of winning trophies. Because now they are consistent. They are consistently challenging. The next one now is
True.
to win trophies. Can Ateta take them to that next land? Can he take them to the promised land? It's a different thing for you to build. If what you are building and you don't have a way to break the next barrier, I think it's fair enough that. But let's just see. Fingers crossed at the end of the season. Hopefully, Arsenal can get 1 or 2 trophies inside.
Let me quickly add.
Yeah,
Let
go
me quickly
ahead.
add that the last 4 matches or the last 5 matches have obviously shown that yes, all is not well at some point. But again, as I said, let's put it in the context that it fits. We are in a better place this season than we were last season. And there I say maybe the last 3 seasons. Nobody has ever mentioned quadruple around Arsenal in like how many years? And of course, that has some people say from quadruple to treble now to double and then trouble or whatever, all the banter that comes with it. But all I'm saying is that if you think about Arsenal last season, at this point or at this stage now, we were getting ready to face PSG in the semi-finals of the Champions League. But Liverpool already won the league. So it meant that there was even nothing for us in the Premier League already. But at this stage that we are in, and judging by, I've sat down, done a bit of calculations with the Premier League and all of that, Arsenal needs to lose 3 matches for Man City to be able to, go ahead to even at least, and Man City have to be perfect. Man City have to win all their matches for us to even say that, oh, okay, Arsenal will, lose the English Premier League. I did a whole lot of, research on all of that. And as I said, we are in a better position now. I said it as I was saying, as I was talking earlier. Am I exactly happy with our performances? No, I'm not. I'm going to the viewing center to go and watch this match. And I'm wondering what is going to happen right now. Noni Madueke now suffered a knock. I genuinely don't know how we are going to start top against what's it called now? Against Man City. Am I a bit worried? Of course I am. I am worried. But it does not take away the fact that I know that this team has done so much work, put in so much work to get to the point that we are right now. And to be honest, I genuinely believe that we can get over the line come the end of the season. Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to another game that produced a whole lot of goal. And I will start with, before I go to Michael Olise. Michael Olise was very, very fantastic. And I think if he keeps up with this kind of form, him and Ryan Cherki in the midfield of France will be disastrous for any team at the World Cup. There is a particular Harry Kane at 33 plus, still banging in the goals. He has scored 50 goals in the league this season, and still have about 5 matches to go, and he's probably still going to score more, breaking records everywhere, and he's also one of the top scorers in the UCL. However, before we go into the intricacies of their performance, do you think the red card for Camavinga was justified? Because I mean, he came in the 61st minute, and the substitution was because the person he came in for had a yellow card, and Abelua didn't want to risk it. And a lot of people have said until Camavinga got that red card, it seems the pendulum was swinging Real Madrid way. What do you think? I will start with Solomon. Do you think that Camavinga red card, the second yellow card, was justified?
I think that Camavinga is not disciplined. That's my own personal opinion, right? He did it against Arsenal last season. And you cannot be playing such a crucial match when the momentum was on the side of your team. Like, Madrid came into that match and disciplined as can be. You are already on a yellow card. First, you committed a foul, and then you delayed the flow of the match again. Come on. I mean, I think that's something that the UCL needs to look into in terms of the officiating. But I believe that as a player, Camavinga should have known better. There was no, I kid you not, there was no reason why he needed to disturb the flow of the game. You people were in a good position to move into extra time. It was just about 5 minutes to go to the end of the match. You were in a good position. See, I'll give you a very good example. Last 2 seasons, 2024, Trossard kicked the ball away against Man City, and he got a second yellow and a red card that eventually led that match to a draw. Do you know that from that time until now, you don't see an Arsenal player collect a red card for those type of situations anymore? You can't see that happen again, because the coach obviously would have told you that, Alpha, we cannot allow for things like this to continue to happen. Once they blow, move on. You already fouled a player. Of course, it was a soft foul. It was never going to be a yellow card, right? Why did you stop the flow of play? Why did he continue kicking the ball? I think that Camavinga was indisciplined in that match. However, I also think that the referee would not have given him a second yellow if he remembered that he was on a first yellow.
That's true.
Because his body movement showed that he probably forgot that Camavinga was already on a yellow card. It meant that what Camavinga did obviously warranted a yellow card, but the referee would not have given it if he remembered that Kamavinga was in the first yellow. Either ways, he got the yellow card, and I believe strongly that cost Madrid that match. They were in a very good position to progress to the extra time of that match, and maybe we might have seen, penalties, but then again, Kamavinga had to happen. So yeah.
So Temiloluwa, how good do you think Ademola Lookman? Sorry, I'm talking about Ademola. Sorry, how good do you think Olise and Harry Kane are? Because those two players are very, very instrumental in what Madrid has achieved. Also, there's a particular Luis Diaz. Now, Liverpool people, their fans, the board, everybody wanted him gone. The same Luis Diaz is doing so well for Bayern Munich. Is it more of him changing his mentality, or is it more of Vincent Kompany's touch that has revolutionized the way Luis Diaz plays, and the way we've seen Olise from Crystal Palace and Harry Kane?
So first and foremost, before I enter that one, let me first talk about this Kamavinga guy. So I was watching the match with my people, and when I saw Kamavinga on the touchline, I said this substitution is going to be the downfall of Madrid. And immediately that substitution was made, they can bear me witness, I stopped watching the match. You understand? Because Kamavinga is not somebody that strives in high intensity matches. So the moment I saw that he was about to come in, I knew that Madrid, something would go wrong. Probably maybe a wrong back pass, probably maybe he's being tussled off the ball. I just knew something would go wrong, and I was not wrong. So the thing about Kamavinga is he's not a player that he was not meant for that match. Yes, and there are players that are meant for matches like this. Are matches whereby you see people like Messi step up, people like Ronaldo step up. You can see the game was up and down. You understand? These are matches where it's not a match where somebody like Kamavinga comes in. So for the ref, well, no one is above mistake. You understand? So both offenses were yellow card offenses. But if he had known that Kamavinga was on a yellow, like Solomon rightly said, he would not have given him that second yellow. If the match was still 11-11, we would have had quite a very interesting match that might have gone into the extra time. Now back to Harry Kane, Olise, and Luis Diaz. To be honest with you, among all of them, the person that surprises me the most is Luis Diaz, because all of a sudden it just became somebody that scores goals effortlessly. At Liverpool, yes, we saw his dazzle left and right. Well, probably maybe at Bayern, he has just been electric. Harry Kane has been fantastic. I'd actually blame Harry Kane a bit because I feel he should have left Tottenham long ago. You understand? And you cannot be playing loyal. You cannot be a loyalist to a club that is not winning trophy. So you should have left long ago. I think if you had left earlier, probably would have had the Ballon d'Or too, because these numbers are fantastic numbers. These numbers are next level numbers. These numbers are numbers that put you in the spotlight, in the limelight. And for somebody like Olise, man, I think transitioning from the Premier League, the Premier League seems to be a league where everything is fast. You understand? Everything is like times 4 in motion. Everything is very fast. And then going to the Bundesliga where everything is calm, these players are able to influence the game. That's why you can see somebody like Luis Diaz playing fantastically well. Somebody like Olise having all the luxury, giving all those skills, giving the dazzling on the ball. You understand? They have the time and space. So I think this is something that maybe they should consider in the Premier League, to try to reduce the tempo of trying to run up and down, because it is not really helping the players. Olise wasn't even the best right winger in Premier League last season. See him this season. Luis Diaz wasn't even the best left winger last season, but see him this season. So I think transitioning to the Bundesliga, Olise's form just makes the French national team a scary one. Because I cannot just imagine a French national team having someone like Kylian Mbappe, somebody like Ousmane Dembele, having Ryan Cherki, having Olise. in a front four. In fact, that is it's a very, very dangerous attack. And also on the bench, there's like Desire Deswe, you understand, Bakula. That French team with this current form that their players favorite for the World Cup. You understand? Olise has been fantastic. Hopefully, it would be more in the context for the Ballon d'Or because he has the numbers. If Bayern Munich can go on to win the Champions League, it also will be between him and Harry Kane. But fantastic player. These are the kind of times that French national team are happy about. You understand? It's just sad that they lost one of their top nines in Ekitike to injury, but there is more than enough backup. They have Marcus Thuram, they have Mateta. You understand? A lot of players, but this current form, Sheki is on. This current form, Olise is on. This current form, Mbappe is on. This current form, Dembele is on. Just set France as the favorite for the World Cup.
Okay. We